It was too good to last, he thought. I wish it had been a dream now, and that I had never hooked the fish, and was alone in bed on the newspapers. But man is not made for defeat, he said. A man can be destroyed but not defeated. I am sorry that I killed the fish though, he thought. Now the bad time is coming, and I do not even have the harpoon. The dentuso is cruel and able and strong and intelligent. But I was more intelligent than he was. Perhaps not, he thought. Perhaps I was only better armed. Don't think, old man, he said aloud. Sail on this course and take it when it comes. But I must think, he thought. Because it is all I have left. I wonder how the great DiMaggio would have liked the way I hit him in the brain? It was no great thing, he thought. Any man could do it. But do you think my hands were as great a handicap as the bone spurs? I cannot know. I never had anything wrong with my heel, except the time the stingray stung it, when I stepped on him when swimming, and paralyzed the lower leg and made the unbearable pain. Think about something cheerful, old man, he said. Every minute now you are closer to home. You sail lighter for the loss of 40 pounds. He knew quite well the pattern of what could happen, when he reached the inner part of the current. But there was nothing to be done now. Yes, there is, he said aloud. I can lash my knife to the butt of one of the oars. So he did that with the tiller under his arm, and the sheet of the sail under his foot. Now, he said, I am still an old man. But I am not unarmed. The breeze was fresh now, and he sailed on well. He watched only the forward part of the fish, and some of his hope returned. It is silly not to hope, he thought. Besides, I believe it is a sin. Do not think about sin, he thought. There are enough problems now without sin. Also, I have no understanding of it. I have no understanding of it, and I am not sure that I believe in it. Perhaps it was a sin to kill the fish. I suppose it was, even though I did it to keep me alive and feed many people. But then everything is a sin. Do not think about sin. It is much too late for that, and there are people who are paid to do it. Let them think about it. You were born to be a fisherman, as the fish was born to be a fish. San Pedro was a fisherman, as was the father of the great DiMaggio. But he liked to think about all things that he was involved in, and since there was nothing to read and he did not have a radio, he thought much and he kept on thinking about sin. You did not kill the fish only to keep alive and to sell for food, he thought. You killed him for pride, and because you are a fisherman. You loved him when he was alive, and you loved him after. If you love him, it is not a sin to kill him. Or is it more? You think too much, old man, he said aloud. But you enjoyed killing the dentuso, he thought. He lives on the live fish as you do. He is not a scavenger nor just a moving appetite, as some sharks are. He is beautiful and noble and knows no fear of anything. I killed him in self-defense, the old man said aloud. And I killed him well. Besides, he thought, everything kills everything else in some way. Fishing kills me exactly, as it keeps me alive. The boy keeps me alive, he thought. I must not deceive myself too much. He leaned over the side, and pulled loose a piece of the meat of the fish, where the shark had cut him. He chewed it, and noted its quality and its good taste. It was firm and juicy, like meat, but it was not red. There was no stringiness in it, and he knew that it would bring the highest price in the market. But there was no way to keep its scent out of the water, and the old man knew that a very bad time was coming. The breeze was steady. It had backed a little further into the northeast, and he knew that meant that it would not fall off. The old man looked ahead of him, but he could see no sails, nor could he see the hull, nor the smoke of any ship. There were only the flying fish, that went up from his bow sailing away to either side, and the yellow patches of gulf weed. He could not even see a bird. He had sailed for 2 hours, resting in the stern and sometimes chewing a bit of the meat from the marlin, trying to rest and to be strong, when he saw the first of the 2 sharks. "I," he said aloud. There is no translation for this word, and perhaps it is just a noise such as a man might make, involuntarily, feeling the nail go through his hands and into the wood. "Galanos," he said aloud. He had seen the second fin now coming up behind the first, and had identified them as shovel-nosed sharks by the brown, triangular fin and the sweeping movements of the tail. They had the scent, and were excited, and in the stupidity of their great hunger they were losing and finding the scent in their excitement. But they were closing all the time. The old man made the sheet fast, and jammed the tiller. Then he took up the oar with the knife lashed to it. He lifted it as lightly as he could, because his hands rebelled at the pain. Then he opened and closed them on it lightly to loosen them. He closed them firmly so they would take the pain now, and would not flinch and watch the sharks come. He could see their wide, flattened, shovel-pointed heads now, and their white-tipped wide pectoral fins. They were hateful sharks, bad-smelling, scavengers as well as killers, and when they were hungry, they would bite at an oar or the rudder of a boat. It was these sharks that would cut the turtles' legs and flippers off, when the turtles were asleep on the surface, and they would hit a man in the water, if they were hungry, even if the man had no smell of fish blood, nor of fish slime on him. The old man said. Galanos. Come on, Galanos. They came. But they did not come, as the Mako had come. One turned, and went out of sight under the skiff, and the old man could feel the skiff shake, as he jerked and pulled on the fish. The other watched the old man with his slitted yellow eyes, and then came in fast with his half-circle of jaws wide to hit the fish, where he had already been bitten. The line showed clearly on the top of his brown head and back, where the brain joined the spinal cord, and the old man drove the knife on the oar into the juncture, withdrew it, and drove it in again into the shark's yellow cat-like eyes. The shark let go of the fish and slid down, swallowing what he had taken as he died. The skiff was still shaking with the destruction the other shark was doing to the fish, and the old man let go the sheet so that the skiff would swing broadside, and bring the shark out from under. When he saw the shark, he leaned over the side and punched at him. He hit only meat, and the hide was set hard, and he barely got the knife in. The blow hurt not only his hands, but his shoulder too. But the shark came up fast with his head out, and the old man hit him squarely in the center of his flat-topped head, as his nose came out of water and lay against the fish. The old man withdrew the blade, and punched the shark exactly in the same spot again. He still hung to the fish with his jaws hooked, and the old man stabbed him in his left eye. The shark still hung there. No? The old man said, and he drove the blade between the vertebrae and the brain. It was an easy shot now, and he felt the cartilage sever. The old man reversed the oar, and put the blade between the shark's jaws to open them. He twisted the blade, and as the shark slid loose he said, "Go on, Galano. Slide down a mile deep. Go see your friend, or maybe it's your mother." The old man wiped the blade of his knife, and laid down the oar. Then he found the sheet, and the sail filled, and he brought the skiff onto her course. "They must have taken a quarter of him and of the best meat," he said aloud. "I wish it were a dream, and that I had never hooked him. I'm sorry about it, fish. It makes everything wrong." He stopped, and he did not want to look at the fish now. Drained of blood and awash, he looked the color of the silver backing of a mirror, and his stripes still showed. "I shouldn't have gone out so far, fish," he said. "Neither for you nor for me. I'm sorry, fish." Now, he said to himself, look to the lashing on the knife, and see if it has been cut. Then get your hand in order because there still is more to come. "I wish I had a stone for the knife," the old man said, after he had checked the lashing on the oar butt. "I should have brought a stone. You should have brought many things," he thought. "But you did not bring them, old man. Now is no time to think of what you do not have. Think of what you can do with what there is." "You give me much good counsel," he said aloud. "I'm tired of it." He held the tiller under his arm, and soaked both his hands in the water, as the skiff drove forward. God knows how much that last one took, he said. But she's much lighter now. He did not want to think of the mutilated underside of the fish. He knew that each of the jerking bumps of the shark had been meat torn away, and that the fish now made a trail for all sharks as wide as a highway through the sea. He was a fish to keep a man all winter, he thought. Don't think of that. Just rest, and try to get your hands in shape, to defend what is left of him.